Here's the quickest way to not get a trilogy. Try to capture lightning in a bottle twice. I'm Seth, and today is day 7 of 365, reviewing the movie from every ticket stub I saved since 2004. We made it through our first week. Only 358 more movies to go. Our next movie is Legend of Zorro, directed by Martin Campbell. He's going to be back 2 more times over the next few weeks with Edge of Darkness and Green Lantern. I'm excited about one of those. And this movie is starring Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones. She dips beneath lasers. Whoa. I think to talk about Legend of Zorro, we have to go back to Mask of Zorro. Mask of Zorro is, in my opinion, one of the few perfect action-adventure movies. Top to bottom, front to back, casting, direction, sets, costumes, set pieces. It is nothing but a 10 out of 10. They captured lightning in a bottle. This movie is really, really earnest, and I will give it that. Legend of Zorro is a very earnest film, and they're trying to do something with the characters that they set up in the first movie. This was not as well reviewed as Mask of Zorro, unfortunately. And when I was a kid, I was hyped for this one. I had seen Mask of Zorro when I was young. It's basically Batman in a different flavor, or Batman Begins in a different flavor, more technically, because of the way they set up that story. When this movie gets announced, I am absolutely hyped for it. And to find out that there's a child character, like a POV for me, I was on board, to say the least. I remember walking out of the theater very happy with what I had seen. Looking back and reviewing this now, it's really interesting to me the ways that this movie was maybe lost on me just a little bit in what they were trying to do with these characters, and the sequel-itis that this movie suffers from. I understand why this didn't get a third one. However, this is a series that I think deserves a cap end, especially with legacy sequels in this era. Antonio Banderas is at an age where he could do the Anthony Hopkins role from The Mask of Zorro. We could introduce a brand new character in kind of a moved up time period. You could really Assassin's Creed the fuck out of this one. I feel like the trilogy is just ripe for the picking. Unfortunately, I don't think it soars to the heights of the first one. There's like a real excitement of, can he pull this off through the whole thing? Because we're shown his ineptitude across The Mask of Zorro, that it feels like there's real stakes, and the stakes are also personal. Like, this is a movie that achieves those blockbuster highs along with those personal highs. Going into this movie, we're getting a family dynamic, which is new and interesting. I think it's worth mentioning that the idea behind this movie was to get those same families back into theaters, and so I don't think it was a mistake for them to delve into the family aspect, especially with the way the baby plays kind of a central plot point in the, like, Count of Monte Cristo-esque storytelling in the first one. There's a lot of ripe ground here, and this is a really interesting time period in history. I have to be consistent. I compliment Alien Covenant for its 20-minute victory lap that Ridley Scott gets at the end, where he basically condenses all of Alien down into a 20-minute short film updated for the 2010s era. I compliment him for that. I know that is a pain point for some people in the movie, that the movie overstays its welcome. I don't think you can overstay the welcome of a franchise that you really love. This movie opens similarly, with the first 20 minutes being really just a victory lap from Mask of Zorro, showing that they can still do this kind of action. They can still do the really grizzled, gritty, evil characters, but I feel like the first movie had more balls, and there's a neutering that happens even in the first opening action sequence, where what's ultimately our villain for this scene is covered in cactus prickles and spit a couple teeth out. And, like, that's hardcore. That's some PG-13 violence, but I don't really think it achieves, oh my god, the cannonball smash from Mask of Zorro. This episode's not about Mask of Zorro, but I just love that movie so much that I can't not talk about it. Question for this video: what's your favorite movie set in Mexico? I think that's a really fun place to play around with. There's a lot of movies to pick from here. I'm a big fan of Robert Rodriguez, so honestly I could kind of pick and choose from any of his films. If you'd like to know what my movie review score is, that's over on Letterboxd, where I'm going through all of these movies, as I said at the top, you can leave a comment here and follow the journey. If you'd like to know tomorrow's movie, we're talking about The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Excited to get into Christian Harry Potter. That's very personal to me. And if you'd like to support this journey, go check out the Patreon. I have a podcast episode with Joshua Dysart that you can check out. I sat down with him for a couple of hours and talked about the process of creating art, the process of creating comic books. He talks about his run on Swamp Thing. It's a really, really cool interview. That's only over on the Patreon. You should see clips coming out for that as well pretty soon here. From there, I'll just say, see you tomorrow.